Right now, every person standing near the equator is moving eastward at roughly 1,000 miles per hour. We don't notice this velocity because the ground, the oceans, and the atmosphere are all traveling at that same speed. Basic inertia means that an object in motion stays in motion until something stops it. As Neil deGrasse Tyson explains, if the planet were to suddenly halt, that momentum would be released instantly. Every unanchored object on the surface would continue traveling eastward at 1,000 miles per hour. In this thought experiment, we are locking the solid bedrock of the planet Earth into an absolute dead stop, while leaving the things on top of it fully subject to the laws of physics. This immediate disaster isn't caused by a failure of gravity. It is the result of unanchored momentum turning every loose object into a supersonic projectile. The atmosphere would maintain its speed, creating winds reaching 1,000 miles per hour. These supersonic gusts would level forests and strip human cities down to the bedrock in seconds. The oceans would follow the same law. Billions of tons of water, retaining their eastward momentum, would surge out of their basins and sweep across the continents. This image shows a standard tsunami, but on a stopped Earth, the scale of the water surge would be unrecognizable. The oceans would migrate inland with enough force to submerge entire mountain ranges. Within the first few minutes, the very air and water that sustain life would scour the planet's surface clean. Earth's rotation creates centrifugal force, pulling the oceans into an 8-kilometer-high equatorial bulge. This outward force maintains our current sea levels. When the spin stops, the centrifugal force disappears. Gravity immediately pulls that massive water bulge toward the poles. As the water recedes, a massive ring of dry land, an equatorial megacontinent, would emerge. This would leave the planet with 2 isolated oceans sitting at the poles. The final separation would happen here, near the Kiribati Islands. This is the lowest point of the new global divide, where the receding waters would eventually split the northern and southern oceans forever. Our world map isn't a permanent fixture of the Earth's crust. It is a temporary arrangement maintained by constant rotation. The solid Earth would also begin to shift. Currently an oblate spheroid, bulging at the center, the planet would attempt to collapse into a perfect sphere under the pull of gravity. This structural shift would trigger global earthquakes that would tear the crust apart as the planet's solid rock settles into its new spherical shape. Global elevations would be redefined. High-altitude peaks like Mount Kilimanjaro would lose their prominence, as the land around them rises and the Earth's physical relief adjusts to the loss of its spin. Even the solid rock beneath our feet relies on the constant forces of rotation to maintain its current shape. Without the Coriolis effect to deflect air masses into complex patterns, global weather systems would collapse. In each hemisphere, the atmosphere would settle into a single, massive convection cell. Time itself would change. Because the Earth is still orbiting the Sun, but no longer rotating on its axis, a single day-night cycle would last exactly 1 year. One side of the planet would face the Sun for 6 months, reaching temperatures above 50 degrees Celsius, while the dark side would spend 6 months in a deep freeze. The only temperate region would be the terminator line, the narrow ribbon of twilight that slowly moves around the planet as it orbits. A stationary Earth loses its ability to distribute heat, ending its viability for a complex biosphere. The planet's final defense would also fail. The geodynamo, the movement of molten iron in the core, generates the magnetic shield that protects us from solar radiation. Without rotation to drive convection, the core's energy would bleed away through ohmic dissipation. The magnetic field would slowly decay, eventually vanishing entirely. This loss would leave the surface fully exposed to deadly solar radiation and cosmic rays, effectively sterilizing the planet. In our real world, the moon's gravity is slowing our rotation by 1.7 milliseconds every century. However, the sun will expand and destroy the Earth long before the spin ever stops on its own. Rotation is the physical foundation of our world. This momentum constructs our geography, generates our weather, and maintains the magnetic shield that guards our atmosphere and allows existence itself.